Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Boss Radio Live. Welcome to Boss Radio Live. It is our fourth show. I can't even remember. We've had so many. But anyway, welcome to Boss Radio Live, everyone. So glad to see you all. Today we have a really awesome treat in store for you. We have the amazing Mr. Orlando Q Johnson, or the Maestro, as some call him. But that is coming right up, you guys. It's Boss Radio Live with NJ,
your three-dimensional podcast. Baltimore, Maryland. I love my city. Wow. You have to have balance.
Mother's Day extravaganza event being held by LUC Lois Button Culver.
Come meet me today at the Spirit Fest. I want to hear what you have to say.
Again, welcome to Boss Radio Live, where he is the boss of me. I am your host, NJ, and I have a really special guest for today's show. You'll find out why later. But it is Mr. Orlando Q Johnson of MIFAL Inc., which is a local music school. But if you have never heard of him or don't know about him, here is a little about Mr. Orlando Q Johnson. The Maestro Orlando Q Johnson, or Mr. O, is a passionate musician, author, and CEO founder of Music Instruction for All Learners Inc., MIFAL, and MIFAL Arts Academy. A graduate of Temple University, like its mascot, the owl, Orlando is wise beyond his years. MIFAL, usually deeply entrenched in the community, came to a grinding halt when the coronavirus pandemic struck. But Orlando, not one to be stopped, saw opportunity where others saw difficulty and took his entire business virtual. This strategy, called a pivot, allowed MIFAL to continue adding value to the community and allowed Orlando to create even in a crisis. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Orlando Q Johnson. Don't forget the Q to Boss Radio Live. Hi, Orlando.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Miss NJ?
I am blessed and highly favored. Yes, yes. So I told our guests that you were a very special guest. And so I want to let you guys know why I'm calling Mr. Orlando Q Johnson a very special guest. It's actually because it's my husband. But besides being my husband, he's a really amazing person, an awesome business owner, wonderful musician. He tickles the ivories. He plays the piano. So let's just jump, right into it. Today, we are going to talk about something that many business owners and solopreneurs had to do in order to survive the last year and a half through the coronavirus pandemic. And that is put into action the art of the pivot. So we're going to talk a little bit about this pivoting with Orlando, because Orlando had to pivot, as you all saw in the intro. But before we get into all of that, Orlando, let's talk about you, number one, and then also about MIFAL. So tell us about yourself and also how MIFAL came about.
Well, as you said, I am Orlando Q. Johnson, your husband. I actually started playing piano at the age of 10, but and I was introduced to it. It's almost like almost a love affair that started at the age of 10 when I was introduced to it by Miss Darlene Mumbauer, a little old lady at our church back then, and she would have the children in the neighborhood gravitate towards the church by teaching them how to play the piano. So she was evangelizing. We didn't know it, but that's the way how she got us into the church by playing, teaching us instruments, the piano, the guitar. And I chose the good piano. So I started having a love for what I was doing, learning how to read the notes at the same time, and I eventually started buying my own sheet music as I was learning. I went to Settlement Music School. By the time I got to high school, it was time for me, as you said, pivot to be able to, learn better, to go to a different school. So I had my high school teacher, Dr. Turner now. She noticed the talent and wanted me to leave Miss Darlene. And I said I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. But we had a kind of a teacher-student argument at that time. And then I talked to Miss Darlene, and Miss Darlene said it was okay because at that time you didn't know when someone says, I've taught you all I can. There's not more that I can do. So I eventually enrolled in Settlement Music School in South Philadelphia because I ended up going to college for music. Went to Temple, started at the Community College of Philadelphia for music. Here's the fun fact. Wanted to be a doctor first. But once I started all that math, it's like, okay, I had to pivot again and say, okay, we're not going to do this. So I ran to the music department, and basically that's where the journey began. Stayed in the department and eventually transferred to Temple University. Because by then I knew I wanted to be a music teacher because of all the teachers who have, instilled the love of music and the arts in me.
Now, I was going to ask, were you influenced by them in your thinking or I forgot what you call it, but like the theory of how your particular school operates, which is that teaching the piano to everyone initially so that they can learn music. Is that something you picked up from a teacher or were influenced by a teacher, or is that something you actually came up with yourself?
I actually came up with that myself because from experience, when I got to high school, they put a trumpet in my hand. And so, it wasn't really hard for me to learn how to play it because one, I was already reading music from playing that piano. And two, an instrument is nothing but the technical parts of playing an instrument, learning how to produce the sound.
If you want to come through us and then go to school for music, our goal is for you to be able to pass out of a class and say, they already can do that. Take the test, pass out, boom, get a credit for it.
And I actually think that's one of the great things about your particular program, because myself, I used to play the flute, and we did have to learn the notes and everything in order to play. That was really great to be able to pick up any piece of music and be able to play it because you know how to read the notes. So,
Yes.
so it's a great skill to have. And I think that's a really great thing about your program. So in reference to the program, just talk a little bit about that, and we'll get later into everything that's kind of going on now. But just in general, can you just tell us about the program? And if somebody was thinking about coming to your program, what is it your program has to offer?
Okay, well, that's a good question. We started off as music instructors for our learners, or as you said, MIFAL Inc. But that was the mother of the program now. Last year, we birthed a child, MIFAL Arts Academy. And with MIFAL Arts Academy, we put all the arts under one umbrella, piano, instrument, culinary arts. We put them all there. That way, that way the Lord gave us a vision that, look, let's just put them all under one umbrella and create an academy. That way, again, you're going to learn it it's a discipline, and it'll help you not just in our program, but outside our program, because the arts are a discipline, and teach you how to study, teach you how to practice, teach you how to culinary arts, know your ingredients, know your measurements, know that, hey, you can add, but you can't take away. Because I sit on some of those classes with our chef. So I'll be the one to take away and add and think I can take away and be too late. So, but those are the interesting things you find out. All of our instructors are highly skilled and highly trained, and they know what they're doing. So it's not just learning to play piano, it's learning to understand music and theory and everything that goes behind it.
If you come to MIFAL, you're going to get music theory. You're going to learn how to read music, sheet music. And then I heard you mention the piano. You had some wonderful violin instructors.
We're actually adding percussion. We're going to add brass. So we're basically adding all the instruments.
So you cannot have any percussion in-house students. I'm just letting you know.
Cut a brother off. I'm telling you. It's hard over here, guys. It's hard.
I'm just letting you know right now. That sounds loud. So, but anyway, so as a treat, pulled a I don't know, piano and violin piece that you all did. And so for the listening audience, they actually performed this at my daughter's Sweet 16 before all the COVID craziness started happening. So I just want you guys to take a look at this. This is the skill of his students and instructors, and I think it's really great. Oh, that is wonderful. I love that piece. Okay. I just want to let you know, I love that piece, and our daughter actually picked that out herself. But it was so good. It was so good. And the students are very talented. So are the instructors, and that's just the caliber of people you have in the program. So I just wanted to show that really quickly. So that was amazing. So we we're about to get into, then the pandemic hit and all of this was going on. So one of the things is you spend a lot of time out in the actual community. You do a lot of community fairs and different things like that, and attend events. You give away lessons sometimes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, all of that. And so you were doing in-person lessons with everyone when COVID hit. Yep. And that's how you all do everything. And so just let's talk about the pandemic hitting and, what happened then.
Well, we're going to keep it real today. So when the pandemic hit, I'm going to just tell y'all how it went down. Pandemic hit, all of a sudden, our dean and I was talking, and we were actually going to a satellite site to work with some of the students, and and I had everything set up here at our lovely home. Saturday morning, it would just turn into a music studio. And then old Rona came in, Auntie Rona came in, and Mama Johnson said, "Guess what? Nobody's coming over here, so I'm gonna keep it real." So I said, "Oh, okay." Like you go to the church and say, "Okay, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to do this?" So I said, me and Miss D got to talking, and she said, "Hey, we can do a virtual." I said, "Yeah, we would." That was part of my process, as when I was doing your business plan. That was part of the process, but it's not part of let's do it right now. So I was able to get some extra credit from Dell Financial, and I said I had it, but I said I wasn't sure if I was going to do it and what I need to do. We was using Skype, so I said, well, I guess we'd have to do Zoom. So, and this was before Zoom blew up. So I said, okay, let's start and see how this works, because this is the first time. We got to get everybody together, tell everybody what we're going to do, tell instructors what we're going to do, tell us how we're going to get it done. So I said, okay. So we had to shift, or as you say, we had to pivot from in-home back to, online, literally, which is completely different. So we did it. And then actually, as I was talking about, did a Facebook Live and saying we're about to shift online. And even though the COVID-19 hit or anti-Rona came, someone gave us this tag, create even in a crisis. And that's what we did. As our tag, we kept moving forward. I'm not the type of person just to stop. I've never been that type of person. We started creating even in a crisis. So we put everything together. We kept going. I got as many Zoom licenses as we needed, and we just kept moving. Was it easy? No. Was it impossible? I always say it may be hard, but not impossible. Teaching online is not easy because you're not there, especially when it comes to music. I tell all my staff, it's not easy. People got to be patient with us. We got to be patient with our students, because when you teach music, you're normally on hand. You're making sure their hand and elbow is up the right way, or you're making sure the fingers are in a correct position. So you're there making sure everything is where it needs to be, or you're making sure as your vocal teacher, making sure they're breathing correctly by tuck it in their abdomen, making sure everything is right there. But we had to shift, we had to pivot to put everything online. We had to send out various emails to the parents so they know we're still going on, and this is how we're going to do it. Tell the parents, look, I mailed email information about to get a stand for your phone or your tablet, because we all had to make changes, lighting, stuff like that. Make sure everything is available. Our instructors, make sure they have everything that they need. They know what's going on. Make sure everybody had their Zoom license. We had to really grow and engross ourselves into online atmosphere of learning to make it happen. And the parents, and I love my parents, they were grateful, because they seen we have a lot of parent support. We have a lot of friends that support us, and that's what you need. They said, what you need, how are we going to get this done? I think, they give you ideas of how to make it happen. And so we had to do it in an instant. I didn't have time to think about it. It's like, either I'm the type of person, either you're going to do it or you're not. Because if you try to think about it too much, you procrastinate and time is flying. And what they say, time is money, money is time in business. So it's like, you ain't got time to try to figure out what you're going to do. You have to jump on the opportunity up. And it has paid off. We continue to grow. We didn't lose much. We have more students now. And
And you all actually have out of state students, right?
we have
Now.
out of state students, and they are a blessing. And they
Wow.
are, I sit there and watch them in class, and they are actually learning and having fun.
Yes, and I think that's amazing because that is a market that you would have never. Because look, if we want to keep it business, right? This pivoting thing, it wasn't easy. It sounds like there were a lot of moving parts, a lot
Yes,
you had to do with setup and all of that. So it wasn't like it was a cakewalk, but you had to figure out what to do, and then you just went about putting it in place. So that's the pivot piece. But then you are actually reaching a market of people that you would have never ever reached just being a local Baltimore, company and only dealing with the students in the local area.
Correct.
So I think that's amazing on its own. And I think that's the power of pivoting because this wasn't, just an idea that you had. It is something that people across the country had to do at a certain point. They had to figure out if they were going to be able to keep on earning money for their families, or if they were going to have to shut their business down or close their doors because of the pandemic. So being able to think out of the box, like pivoting, it requires you to do that, to think outside of the box, and to be able to move into a whole different market, move into a whole different mindset. Or as I was saying to somebody else, reimagining your entire business model.
Yep.
Right. I mean, we were all locked in the house. So what else better did we have to do? And figure out how to stay in business. So, yeah, I definitely understand. And even I myself had to do a bit of pivoting during this time frame as well. And so I certainly understand that. And I think that's amazing that you were able to do that. So if you could think of 3 pieces of advice for our audience in regards to pivoting and working your business in something as crazy as this pandemic has been, what would you leave our listeners with?
One, don't be afraid. Fear is not an option, because we get scared. We get scared of something that is of new. And that's something God told me a long time ago. Fear is not an option. If I give you something to do, you got to do it. We go up, but what if and what? No, if this is something that God wanted me to do or wanted you to do, one, don't be scared. Yes, it was a challenge, because it's going to be a challenge, because again, you got all your instructors and all your people and you start something new. How are you going to keep them all together? How are you going to pay them? You got to think about all these things that you need to do. One, don't be scared. Two, you already said it. Reimagine what you can do. Take some time to think. You're like, how are we going to do this? Talk to people. No, I didn't do this by myself. People have given me ideas. Everybody think Bill Gates got all that money by himself. Nope, he ain't got all that money by himself. He started off having people give him ideas, and he executed them. And if it don't work, try again. Don't be scared if it doesn't work, because okay, that didn't work. All right, try again. What is it? Amazon, that wasn't the first thing he tried. All those companies, those weren't the first thing that they tried. They tried other ways of getting to where they were going to go, and then they finally got the one that worked. They finally got that one that worked, that gave them to their millions. eBay, their business model. They all tried different business models, but until they got to that one. So, you all have to try to get to that one that's going to work. And 3, pray, talk to God, because he will give you the direction that you need to go. He will give you that could be the first one, but, right. Talk to God, Lord, what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
then, what am I going to do? Because, and then if he tells you what to do, let's go back to the point. Don't be scared,
Mhm.
because, your husband, she'll tell you, okay, if someone gives me an idea, I'm going to jump on it, I'm going to do it, because they're like, what you going to lose?
Mhm.
What you going to lose? Because if they don't, if they tell you and you don't do it, then someone else does it, then they making millions, and you're going to be sitting back like, yeah, someone did tell me to do that, and I
Right.
didn't want to jump on it.
Yeah.
So virtual is like, okay, we can do this. We had to start doing everything. Billing, everything had to change of how you're doing things. I had to get the QuickBooks. I had to get Zoom. I know Zoom just love everybody because they just making billions off of everybody with Zoom. And yes, we do get tired of those Zoom meetings, but it's part of the business.
It's part of life. It's part of
But
life right now.
right,
Our
you're right. It's
entire
part.
life. We do family Zooms. We do social Zooms. We do work Zooms. We do business Zooms. We do classroom Zooms. Like
It's part of life.
this is life right now. So yeah. So just we have to be adaptable. We have to be adaptable. We have to be flexible. These back in the day when people were looking for, and now, not just back in the day, but now when people are looking for jobs, they'll put that on their resume in a second. I'm adaptable. I'm flexible. I can work in what do they call it? With heavy deadlines, like when things need to be done, you need to figure something out right now.
Yep.
So, those are things that are not only valuable and desired in the workplace, but they're needed for life. They're needed for business, definitely,
Yep.
because as a business owner, things can change from second to second. So as we have seen.
Yes,
so
we've all seen.
so yeah, so this has been really great just to take a moment and talk about this pivoting, and I'll definitely say to you, as my husband, I was very proud of you and what you did. That you didn't just close up the doors and say, well, that's it until this thing is over. That you really went about, making things happen. And so I appreciate that as one of the things that I most love about you.
Oh, thank you.
So anyway, enough mushy stuff. I'm sure our guests don't want to listen to all of that. But anyway, let's talk about what you have coming up and how we can support you, Mr. Orlando.
Well, if I am correct, because we just had a meeting about this, we will have our summer showcase that's coming up on August 7th. And that is about our students, showing off what they've learned through their teachers. Because one thing about being in a school program, you always have to put on some kind of recital or showcase to say, what have you been working on? So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the fun part about being in this program. We show what you've been working on so people can say, hey, they are doing good. And and we support it. And and they like to see what is going on with Music Instruction for All Learners and a MIFAL Arts Academy. Because our students work hard. They have to work hard. We always tell you, work hard, you play hard. After you work, you get to have some fun. Because when they see their performance, that's the smile that gets put on their face when they finally see themselves playing on that stage or in their living room in front of everybody. They're like, you know what, I like it because I worked hard, and I get the chance to play hard.
Okay, so that's August 7th, everyone listening in. So you get to see some of the students performing,
And then
or maybe all of the students performing. And I'm putting up the Facebook. I'm not sure which one is going to be on, but that's the Facebook MIFAL Inc. and the MIFAL AA, are the Facebook pages. So I see it's saying it's going to be on Facebook and YouTube, and
yeah,
Zoom. So and you were going to mention something else?
Yes, on August 21st,
I think I had that.
we will be actually doing Hamilton Jr., a review, just a few of the songs and having some fun with Hamilton Jr. and think Jonathan, think. Oh, talent show. We're going to get some people together from all over and say, hey, do you have a talent? And we're going to premiere them as well. So we want everybody to be able to join in and share and support the arts, because the arts are important. We all know that they're not supporting them as they used to, as they should in the schools. So we are here to fill that gap. That's one thing I would say about MIFAL. We are here to fill that gap, so something that's not done, we're going to do it. All you got to say, hey, if you join us, I have some adults. We have adults in our program. I have some adults I have to make phone calls to now. Excuse me. I have some adults I have to make some phone calls to now because they say, hey, look, I want to learn how to play piano.
And that's in the name of the business, music instruction for all learners. And your tagline is where music knows no age, right?
That is it, where music knows no age. I tell them, if you're 5 to 105, we got you.
And I just put up here, we asked, how can we support you? So you tell us about your events coming up, which we can definitely take a look at those when they're coming up. And in addition to that, this is how to donate to MIFAL Inc. because MIFAL Inc. is a 501c3, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so your donations are tax deductible. And I just think this is a really great thing anyway, because, our kids really are missing out as far as the arts are concerned, and specifically in Baltimore City schools. Specifically in the city schools, a lot of the arts have been removed. Some of them have gone to maybe after school kind of programs and things like that. But some schools still fight to have some sort of arts in their school, but not every school does. And so I think this is really important because this helps us have more well-rounded young people. And so, not to mention talented. So,
Most definitely.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, how can we stay in contact with you? But I know we have I'll put that up, your websites for MIFAL Inc., MIFAL and MIFAL AA. Yes?
Yes. Yep. That's it. I'm sorry. And when you go to the website, all our phone numbers are there. All our phone numbers and information is there for you to be able to get in contact. You can either contact our dean when you call or our administrator, when you call, because, and they'll take it from there. I've learned, let the people that you put to work with you, let them do their job, because sometimes when you're in charge of a program, you still try to do everything. And sometimes you have to learn.
Yeah.
Which that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother ministry, right?
Oh, okay. My bad.
Delegation. That's a whole other ministry. Learning how to do, but I understand what you're saying. So, and then I showed also the Facebook pages, so you can check them out. And then here's the IG account as well. So, Orlando, thank you for being with us and talking with us today. It's been amazing, and definitely people still need to consider pivoting at this point, because I think some things will never really come back like they were. Like, I'm scared for the fate of all you can eats right now. Because having all that food sitting out in the open, and I don't know who's doing that right now. So they may need to pivot too. As a matter of fact, I heard somebody talking about some changes one of them had made because of coronavirus. So
Right.
definitely something important to keep in mind about pivoting. So I want to thank our wonderful guest today, Mr. Orlando Q. Johnson. Thank
You
you
are
for
quite welcome.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So we will see you guys the next time. It's been really great. Same time, same place. Fridays, every second and fourth Friday on YouTube and Facebook. You can see our shows premiering, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well and like the Boss Radio NJ page, you guys. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay boss.
Bye-bye.